My wife and I have lived on 2 islands in the Pacific for the past 8 years. We ran away from the cold after braving several winters in Minnesota. It was more than the lure of constant warmth, balmy breezes, and salt water that found our feet itching for sandy shores. Something beautifully mysterious captured our wanderlust. To this day, we deem that decision to move as wise as any we've made. Love at first sight. We landed on Saipan, a tiny island in Micronesia, with less than $5,000 in savings, but not a care in the world for gathering riches. We'd found 2 teaching jobs at a private school on a hill, overlooking a blue turquoise lagoon. Our principal picked us up at midnight, and the August air was thick as honey, heavy as a winter blanket. By the time we'd put our suitcases in the trunk, a small pool of sweat had formed at our feet. The main drag carried little lights of storefronts, and we could see fishing boats in the water, casting nets under stars that seemed a bit brighter here. The road turned steep. We put the coast at our backs, drove up Navy Hill, to the very top, and settled in our cottage hidden behind big banana trees and fauna wild as our ambition. Marvel as a state of mind. Before moving to Saipan, I used to think that even the worst of life's circumstances would be passable if living in a place as beautiful as a tropical island. But this is only true as far as one's decision and ability to remain in wonder can tarry throughout each day. At the risk of committing blasphemy, the sunsets became routine, the drastic turquoise blue of the shallow Pacific front blended unnoticed into the movements of the day, and the jungle noises at night, once a source of curious adventure, faded into white noise like a sound machine putting a baby to sleep. Before long, the wanderlust I felt when I first arrived on that tiny island got stifled by familiarity. The scenery meant no more than a passing cloud as the dull drum of life beat to a rhythm of the expected. Normal becomes boring if you let it. I quickly learned that no surroundings, no matter the charm, can genuinely sustain the life bubbling within. Here I was confronted with the ordinary again, after a year of exploring every inch of this paradise. I no longer desired to go to the beach daily or sip my thais while the sea washed against my feet. My environment had become usual, tamed, and known. So I began to dive into the real work of contentment. No longer pulsed by a foreigner, I sought gratefulness and awareness as guides to revel in the enchantment by my side. Photo by Vincent Camacho on Unsplash. The law of focus. I'm a firm believer in becoming what you behold. Change and growth happen in the soil of inspiration, not manipulation. Similarly, our affection or lack of it for the places we live grow or die in our appreciation and acknowledgement of the goodness that home has to offer. Every city or town has something to give, something unusual that makes it worthwhile living there. In my mid-20s, I spent a year in Beijing, China, and can testify to this sentiment. I made the most of it. I shone my spotlight on the gifts and tried my best to let the clanging sounds and stress of the city roll off my shoulders. A change of scenery. Typhoon Sotaler hit Saipan during our 3rd year living there. We woke the next morning, and our beautiful island home resembled the apocalypse. Cars lay on their backs, palm trees crisscrossed the road, and telephone poles split into pieces as though a giant had broken them like a twig. As much as the chaos caused a frantic clutch within, it was the ensuing nights that set my feet ablaze. We had no electricity or generator. It was the middle of August, the month that carried heat and humidity like a pocket knife. If we opened the doors to get relief, the mosquitoes came in and bit our newborn baby, red swells of endless itching. If we kept the doors closed, we baked a slow broil unto a world of pain. Our move to the big island of Hawaii felt serendipitous. I'd landed an incredible job opportunity. After visiting, once airplanes were moving to and fro from Saipan again, we decided to say goodbye to our tiny island and move to a bigger one that promised many similar traits we'd come to love. Babies and a mortgage. The settling in on Hawaii Island felt very different from our descent on Saipan. We had a young baby with one on the way and a mortgage tied to our necks. But every passing chance I'd coax my wife into taking a drive, in hopes of exploring our new home, fueled by that familiar reawakened wanderlust. Those days grew sparse, however, as diapers piled up and water bills cluttered my thoughts. Normal happened much quicker than it did on Saipan. Life's realities and responsibilities quickly covered the marvel in a coat of sawdust. The substitute Hawaii astonishes me daily. When I watch the sun fall into the sea against a sky that turns red to pink to black, or savor the warmth of the Pacific Ocean as I duck into an early morning surf, I am most pleased and thankful to live in such a place. But the prior pulse of exploring has become a stranger, a man whose face I've forgotten. I've realized something or a few someones that are much more important than my desire for the passing scenery, beautiful as it may be. My life hides, in plain sight, in 3 young girls' faces, and an older one that likes me to do the dishes. Photo by Limmer Zellermayer on Unsplash. Herein lies my predicate. If I could live anywhere in the world, I'd be amiss to choose a place over Hawaii. But this choice pales to thoughts of who has become more important than where. People and purpose can ultimately turn the deepest city grind, the most brutal rat race, or the dullest desert into a living paradise. The vital decision to pack up the little we had and move to an island in the middle of the Pacific wholly served its purpose. A place is only as beautiful as the people that keep it.